name is Kanita Matori. I'm running for the city council seat at large here, and I'm representing the central part of the city, which is small business, which is, by the way, is the currently underrepresented. I'm still here. Perhaps some of you may met me before at Spice Monkey Restaurant and the comedy venue I opened 17 years ago, or my store that's still currently in downtown called Howden Market. I'm running because of all our small business community is pretty much devastated, and it's shocking. And the crime is really driving away all our customer, which leading to a lot of unacceptable small business are closing. Some of the people might not know that small business are a big contributor to the tax dollars and fees, and it's very essential play to the essential service. And it's very simple that we need to get the crime under control so we can support business, so we can grow our revenue. Let's remember that without small business, a job will be loose, and a lot of people are going to be unhoused. And with my 20-year plus experience,
Who keeps doing that?
Thank you.
What is going on with that sound?
Christina,
Oh my Lord!
you are muted and we can't see you.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Hello, everyone. I'm Cristina Tostado, like tostadas, but with a O. I also go by Tina from the town. I am an Oakland Library Commissioner. I'm a mentor for Life Goes On, where we're trying to end senseless gun violence. I'm a young professional board member for Reading Partners. I'm also part of the Oakland Ed Advisory Board. And I was a former volunteer liaison for Mayor Livy Schaaf. And I was a former board member for the Oakland Latino Chamber of Commerce. Everything that I do in Oakland is volunteer. I'm a supervisor at Costco in Livermore. And working in Livermore, it inspired me to move back home. I grew up on 62nd and East 14. And for me, I have a stellar community relationship. I also have a relationship with electeds in government, also with small businesses. Kanita did say, yes, small businesses are important. It's important to support them. It's important to support labor. But one of the priorities that I'm working on is mental health. Hopefully with mental health, it would help with some of our crime, cleanliness, and safety here in Oakland. I also plan to work on economic business development. We definitely need to create more jobs and support our small businesses, and just even our bring in some corporations. We definitely need to make sure that we create jobs and opportunities for Oaklanders. I love Oakland so much. I'm here with you guys in the fight too.
Okay, thank you. Your time is up.
More.
All right. Next question. The ECAP sets ambitious goals for decarbonizing Oakland's buildings and transportation sectors. What specific policies and initiatives would you promote or support to accelerate the transition to all electric buildings and zero emission transportation? And how will you ensure these efforts are implemented equitably, especially in underserved communities? And let's start with Rowena.
Excellent. Great question. I mentioned that I went to law school and my concentration was in environmental law. And so ensuring that the city reaches its ECAP goals by 2030 is very important to me. And so I think that the way that the city will be able to do that, it will entail being able to receive state is literally
maybe
So businesses near the BART stops so that we
Hold on a
continue
second,
to
folks. I'm
bring
getting
in
out of
revenue to
control.
Oakland, but also clean our air. Also doing policy work to plant more trees. We need clean air, so trees help. As well as having clear air data, making sure that we can provide areas where they have air that's more polluted. As a library commissioner, one of the things that we're looking at is there's a way.
Okay, let me try that now.
As a library commissioner, one of the things that we're looking at is
Okay, let me try that now.
as a library commissioner, one of the things that we're looking at is
Okay, let me try that now.
as a library commissioner, one of the things that we're looking at.
Okay, let me try that now. Oh, brother. Oh, it's a loop. I'm sorry, folks. Hold on a second. Oh, it's a loop. I'm sorry, folks. Hold on a second. Oh, it's a loop. I'm going to have to reset this. I'm sorry, folks. Hold on a second. Oh, it's a loop. I'm going to have to reset this. I'm sorry, folks. Hold on. All right, so there's that. I'm going to have to reset this. Okay. All right, so there's that. Okay. These are. I'm going to go out and come back in. Hold on. Here's that. Let's share the screen, which is the Zoom webinar. There's that. And there's that. Let's share the screen, which is the Zoom webinar. There's that. And there's that. Let's share the screen, which is the Zoom webinar. All right. So now you can hear me, and there's no feedback because I had this. Okay, so let me put this over here. I'm going to plug it there. All right.
From these high emission buses that they've been using for many years to electric buses. I think that is going to be pivotal to climate change in the city of Oakland.
All right, thank you. Next question. What would you do to deal with the increases in city employee costs that have grown at basically double the rate of inflation for more than a decade? So city employee costs are now 60% of our budget. Please be specific. And let's start with Sean.
Yeah, slow on that unmute button, sorry. Yeah, so, unions and livable wages are really important. I think it's also really important we get our fiscal house in order. We need to treat the city's publicly owned resources much more efficiently. So for example, there are surface parking lots in downtown that the city owns. Some of those have been converted into mixed income, higher density housing, and we're collecting 30x the property taxes that we previously collected. We need to be using our resources way more efficiently. The roads that we have in Oakland are crumbling because they're way too expensive for us to maintain. $2 million per lane mile. And so I'm a dues paying union member. I believe firmly in livable wages. And I'm also the candidate that's most focused on making Oakland more affordable and accessible. There's so many ways we can be using our resources more efficiently. We probably should have done a ground lease for the Coliseum, for example, so that we can enjoy and capture taxes from it and also rent it out to a tenant rather than a one-time lump sum payment. We shouldn't be demonizing our partners as part of unions, but we need to get our fiscal house in order. We need to use our resources more efficiently. We need to be serious about the cost of single occupancy.
Okay, thank you. Time is up. Yeah. Kanita?
Well, negotiating a sustainable union contract, addressing struggle budget issues, and improving efficiencies and reducing waste. In every department. I think if you're over budget, you have to look at how you get that back in budget. With my 20-year of business experience as a business owner in various different areas, that will be where we address the first thing.
Okay, Christina?
Hello.
Yeah.
So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. So with labor, we definitely need to support the unions to have safe working conditions, to have benefits that they deserve to be able to provide for their families, to be able to support them in having equitable jobs, to be able to thrive here. But definitely it's important to continue supporting the unions and making sure that working class can continue working,
Okay, are you done?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Okay, LaRon?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So I think it starts with making sure that our city becomes fiscally responsible and making sure that our revenue division is operating efficiently, making sure that our city leaders are getting the budget to the council in a fair amount of time so that they can do a thorough assessment and actually have a transparent budget process where community members can actually be participants in the process. I think we didn't see that happen in the most recent budget process. And so, again, I think it does require us to sit down with our unions and have discussions about where we are in our city currently, fiscally, and see how we can work together. I think it's important to understand, as somebody who worked for the city for 24 years and retired from the city, fair wages and good benefits attracts employees. And so I don't think that we can think that we'll be competitive with other cities across the country if we don't have competitive wages and benefits. But I think we need to make sure that these decisions are done in a fiscally responsible way, making sure that we're efficient and cutting away the things that we don't need. I think Oakland is in a place.
All right, thank you. Rowena?
Sounds like the Oscars.
Excellent. Thank you so much for the question. I definitely agree, strongly agree. Livable wages are extremely important, especially when, and then taking into consideration that so many of our departments are already understaffed. So we need to do everything possible to ensure that we're protecting workers and that they have fair wages. And I also think that the solution here is exactly what has already been stated. We need a good physical budget, but then we also need to find ways to increase the city's revenue. I also think that there are additional ways to get more funding to help ensure employees can have livable wages, whether that's funding from both the state and the county to support various departments within our city. Also, at the same time, increasing technology as well.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Okay, next question. Do you think that Oakland needs more police officers? If no, why not? And if yes, how many? Please give a specific answer. And what budget adjustments would you make to allow?
Pardon, Kathy, I think we may have missed someone on that last question.
I didn't get a chance to answer.
Darlene.
A very good question.
I'm sorry, Charlene.
That's okay, Kathy.
Sorry to interrupt, Kathy. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, there you are. I'm sorry. Kind of hard to keep track with all of these. Charlene.
There's a lot of us, I know. Yeah, I mean, fiscal responsibility is very important. We don't want to become like Stockton, where they didn't manage their finances and declared bankruptcy and had to make deep slashes to public safety. We do need to do things like investing in revenue generating positions, getting creative. In New York, every single bus shelter is used for advertising dollars. We can do that here in Oakland as well. Some of the wages are also addressing ultimately the cost of housing. That is the underlying driver of some of these, the necessary for wages. So we need to build more housing, particularly middle income housing. We need to address pension costs, get more creative with the kind of investments that we're making with our pension dollars. So we're having a higher return on investment. And finally, I would say if we have to make tough decisions around reining in some of the costs, I never want to have our lowest level employees take those sacrifices. It's always starting at the top, at the department heads, which I've seen some generous salaries. I think in a period of fiscal austerity, people can make some sacrifices.
Great, thank you. All right. Do you think Oakland needs more police officers? If no, why not? And if yes, give a specific number of how many and what budget adjustments you would make to get those officers. Let's start with Kanitha.
Yes, Oakland is experienced crime. I myself have a store in downtown where car drive in and constantly breaking in and people walking in,
Oops. Here we go again.
taking stuff off shelf and the losses. So definitely need more officer. Staff is under 700 sworn officer in the city authorized. I think it's 726, but the number is falling short. That's definitely need to be addressed. Public safety is a challenge for us as a business community to operate, or I myself live here. The quality of life is definitely deteriorating, and effectively managing the rising crime and to make sure that our community is safe is the priority number one, I believe. And we ideally we need 800 officer, and it would really help with the response, because the last time we got broken into, it takes 8 hours to come, the police to come.
All right, thank you. I see that we have Nancy Sidebottom here now. Nancy, I'm sorry that you missed most of the questions. If you'd like to unmute, we'll give you an opportunity to make a 1.5-minute opening statement.
Okay, thank you. Nancy Sidebotham. I've been a resident of Oakland since 1964. I've been very involved in the politics of Oakland since 1982. I work very closely with many in the city of Oakland to try to bring Oakland back to what we've known it to be in the past, and look forward to continuing to work with people to make the changes and become the city that we can be, as long as we all fight the same fight. Went to Merritt College on Grove Street, went to Cal State Hayward, and looking forward to continuing to work with the city. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'm gonna repeat the question because of that interruption. Do you think that Oakland needs more police officers? If no, why not? And if yes, how many? Give a specific number. And what budget accommodations would you make to be able to get those officers?
Oakland.
And let's go to Christina. Oh, Nancy, we're calling people in.
Okay, no problem, no problem.
So I just got out of a meeting, a town hall meeting, and our new chief said that we have 689 sworn in police officers. I guess 2 just recently retired, and that's still not enough. So definitely they need more people, more police officers for crime intelligence so that we can solve crime, more foot patrol, especially people from Oakland. Like, you know, Laron's one of the few that are from Oakland. There's not, I mean, not few, but there's plenty that aren't from Oakland. So having more that a connection through the community would be amazing. I also feel like some of the budget cuts that we could do is cutting some of that overtime. Definitely having more police officers would help. And that would also help with the mental health of police officers. If they're overworked and they're tired, nobody wants to deal with a grumpy cop. Well, technically nobody wants to deal with a grumpy cop, period, but especially not one that's tired. And, you know, they're people too. So it's important for them to have a work-life balance as well and protect our city. Yeah, that's all I have.
All right, Charlene.
Hi, yeah. In Oakland, we really don't have enough police officers. You know, I'm not someone who would automatically say every city by any means need to have more police officers. Oakland, however, it is a case in which we definitely need to have more. We have one of the highest violent crime per officer ratios in the nation, in part because our police force is so understaffed. And unless we are moving towards robot cops, which I would not recommend, these are ultimately human beings and you can only squeeze so much out of them. And right now, what we have is a situation where even priority 1 phone calls, which warrant an immediate response, national standard is 5 minutes. In Oakland, that response time was over an hour in some months in 2023, which is just totally unacceptable. We should probably have at least 900 police officers, is what would put us more into the range of what is normal. But what has been pointed out too, with the understaffing, not only do we have all this overtime that's being eaten up in our budget anyways, it increases the likelihood of police brutality with what is essential.
All right, thank you. Laron, this is the easy one for you.
Yes, as somebody who was on the ground and managing the Oakland Police Department, yes, we need more police officers in the city of Oakland. We now have significant delays in response times that could be as high as 60 minutes for priority 1 call, which is what Charlene was mentioning. That's unacceptable at both the state and national level for response to an emergency call. If I would say that the number needs to be more closer to 1,000 officers in the city of Oakland because we currently have 35 officers per shift working in the community, and that's not nearly enough. How we would pay for them, I think we should go back to the grants that we were getting previously from the Department of Justice. They're hiring grants that supported the hiring of new police officers, as well as state level grants that could also help us hire police officers. I think with more police officers on the ground as walking officers working in our community, helping us out with our ceasefire strategies and other community-based strategies, I think we could definitely improve crime and provide a sense of safety in the city of Oakland.
Okay, thank you. Rowena?
Yes, thank you so much for the question. And so kind of as already mentioned, you know, the data shows us, and even just nationwide data shows us that the city of Oakland has been operating well below the amount of officers that would genuinely be needed in order to ensure public safety. And so, yes, I do support that. And also at the same time, community-based policing models, as well as I think that the answer to this question also is a both and, where we are also continuing to focus in on other alternatives to policing models. I know that there was some conversation and some dialogue around macro and that just really being kind of more of a newer program, and just all of the work that the Department of Violence Prevention is doing and ensuring that their funding stays steady as well. And so how do we do this? It's kind of exactly what was mentioned. There are numerous opportunities of grant funding, both at the state and federal level, that can help support these efforts.
All right, thank you. Sean? Sean?
Oh,
The concert is over.
Great. Yeah, so I'll answer it really concretely with numbers. We have lower police ratios than other cities. California averages 1.9 per thousand. We have 1.65. Those should be brought up to normal levels. Emergency response times are way too high and need to be taken seriously. Our friend Charlene on the call had lived experience around that this week. I've been assaulted on the street for being Jewish, and within the last year, I've had 3 bippings, a hit and run that totaled my partner's car, a car theft on the street in front of my house. We need to be serious about public safety. We also need to be serious about the solutions. Crime, simply put, is a symptom of poverty, and public safety is a city planning issue. Places like downtown are for people, but too often they're just for businesses right now. We built a downtown that was mostly tall commercial buildings, and there aren't the eyes on the street that we need to keep our crime rates low. We should be getting our staffing to normal levels, but we also need more community resource officers, more automation. We can do things with cameras. There are also a lot of things that cops do that they don't want to do. And we need to be serious. Police and fire are 60% of the general fund right now. We can use our resources to build more efficiently and use our wealth, have less overtime, and streamline hiring. We need to be thinking more holistically about public safety.
Thank you. Nancy?
Yes. We need at least 1,000 to 1,200 police officers for the city of Oakland. And we also need more grant writing, which is an issue that has been forgotten about over the many years. And this needs to be brought back. And we also need to increase violence prevention and make that a full-time project for the city of Oakland, because this is where the community comes into play and the nonprofits that are working so desperately to help to bring changes about in the city of Oakland. I apologize to the dogs in the background, because if I start yelling at them, we'll never get my statements made. The other thing is we also need to start looking at getting the community involved in what's going on. Build up the crime prevention councils again, instead of having them dwindle down to nothing, and get them back into the police department where they were part of an effective team to help with crime and stuff. We need to look at beat health, which is something that has not been happening since we lost a couple of the officers. We're going to lose another 90 some odd officers before the end of the year. And this needs to stop.
Okay. Sorry, your time is up.
Thank you.
You have 1 minute to answer the questions. We have a timer.
Got it. No problem.
Music when you're at the end of your time. Okay, next question. Do you think that the city should be liable for the expensive damage that is occurring to cars as they hit a lot of the unfilled potholes in the city? And if so, what kind of process would you put in place for that? And if not, why not? LaRon.
Yes, as a resident of Oakland who was hit many potholes, but has never actually filed a claim for repairs, I think it's really problematic for, especially in low income communities where people are seeing their vehicles damaged and unable to utilize those vehicles, that they should be able to fill out the form that they can currently fill out through the city and actually request to be refunded for whatever amount that they've spent to repair their particular vehicle's tires. But I think this really comes down to the Department of Transportation following through on its plan to fill potholes across our city by the year 2030. I know it's an ambitious ambitious plan, but we should be prioritizing some of the most serious streets that have received the most complaints regarding potholes and significant damage to vehicles, and not have to pay out, unfortunately, lawsuits that have reached up to millions of dollars now as a result of not actually fixing these potholes in a timely manner. And so without...
Okay, thank you. Rowena, you'll be next as soon as the orchestra stops. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Absolutely, yes. As a college student, driving around various parts of Oakland, I was greatly impacted. Needing to buy new tires, and so we definitely need to support the community in ensuring that they can file claims. But I also think that we have to take this a step further in ensuring that the conditions of our streets, the response to those 311 kind of requests around like, hey, there's a pothole here, and really being able to respond to those in a timely manner so that multiple cars and bicycles aren't being impacted by our road conditions. And so exactly kind of as what was stated, the Department of Transportation has been very effective in actually applying for multiple grants. But we know that a lot of times it boils down to having an engineer be able to work on those projects. So I would be focusing on ensuring that there are more engineers working for the DOT.
Sean?
Waiting for the music to stop. So yeah, I think increasing city liabilities isn't something that typically helps the budget. I went to grad school outside of Detroit, and I can say I saw firsthand how a horizontal development pattern was not financially sustainable. That city went bankrupt along with 3 cities in California, including Stockton. And we need to be serious about the cost of roads. Right now, it's $2 million per lane mile. So a street like San Pablo, right next to me, which is 4 lanes, each mile of that will cost us $8 million, basically about every 20 years. That doesn't also include the fact that cars are really expensive. The median cost is $28 to $40 per day. I'm someone with a master's in data science and also a deep equity focus, and I understand how much these costs have been concealed by the auto industry. Yes, we need speed bumps. Yes, we need to be investing in services that improve the quality of our roads, but California is on the hook for $800 billion over the next 20 years. Best case scenario. So we need to be serious about the cost of car ownership, invest in transportation as a service, autonomous vehicles, ride shares, separating bike lanes. We need to look at the numbers and take this seriously. There's way more efficient and environmentally friendly ways to move across.
Thank you. Your time is up. Kanitha.
Yeah, so pothole it's a very I was laughing because one of my regular at Howden Market that comes to shop all the time, she's work at the city hall, and she told me that all she does is working on claims, how many that's coming through the city, and how the city of Oakland paying in the millions for this situation. Someone who's very frustrated with pothole, who now gave up cars altogether, and now I just share car and ride bicycle. I want to address why is it so complicated to fill them, or what is it the cost to, because everyone asked me, am I going to fix the pothole, when I told them I'm running for city council is the biggest main subject, and forget everything else, so they're like, are you going to fix the pothole? So that's where I'm at. I would like to see what does it if I get elected, I'm going to research what's the cost to fill potholes and what's the procedure and all the intel that is. Yeah, and secure some additional funding or something to make that happen. So we'll make our city much more fun and more beautiful.
All right, thank you. Nancy? Nancy, you there?
I'm here. We need to bring back Gallagher and Burke, because since the city started taking care of the streets and stuff, yes, they fill potholes, but then they also slurry the streets with oil to make it look like the streets have been repaved and stuff. And by the next rain, all that's opened up again. This needs to stop. We need to get somebody qualified and hire to do the work that we have known to be done over the years. The potholes in the city and the streets in the city have never been so bad ever since Gallagher and Burke stopped doing the work, taking care of the roads in Oakland. And we need to go back and stop relying on staff that's not really trained on how to do stuff. They might have the equipment to do it, but they don't have the knowledge of how to fix the roads and how to do them properly, and this needs to change. So that's the first thing I would look at, and it's vital as to whether people sue or not. It's past the point if they're not getting a return for anything, then yes, they need to sue in order to get the attention, in order to get the job done and clean up the streets. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Christina?
So, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So, Measure U was passed by our taxpayers, and that is $850 million in available bonds that are supposed to be for safety, for transportation, for filling in potholes. So I feel like the city should be liable if they're not utilizing the money that the taxpayers already approved. This is money that affects our Oaklanders. Like if you get your car messed up, it affects your money. It affects your mood. It affects everything about you. And we should be already revitalizing Oakland. We should be putting in money into Oakland, especially since our taxpayers already approved this. So basically working with these bonds, it would help with filling in these potholes. We're supposed to allocate this money, and I'm gonna make sure to ensure that if I get in the office, I'll make sure that our tax money, our dollars work for us and actually be part of our transportation and pothole systems to make sure that we can drive safely out here.
Time's up. Thank you. Charlene?
Yeah, I mean, potholes are obviously serious business as much as we can kind of joke about them. I mean, they can cause serious injuries. Actually, this last year when my sister and I were driving my mom's car, we had almost a serious accident because of a tire blowout. And so we do need to take care of the potholes. I, at the Department of Transportation, actually helped shape the bipartisan infrastructure law. And I'm like, how is all this money going out the door to repair our roads? And out here in Oakland, we can't solve these basic pothole problems. I think some of it's that we need to bring in in-house contractor to carry out the paving work because we've had challenges with finding contractors regionally. And then also the other thing is in the Department of Transportation, we haven't had enough folks to oversee contracts. What I see potential is to centralize some of that contracting capacity across the city government, because this is probably a commonplace problem that various department folks don't have the capacity to oversee contracts. So we should do that. We should centralize things.
All right, thank you. Unfortunately, our time is up and we've got a lot more questions people wanted to have answered. We wish we could get to everything, but unfortunately we cannot. I want to thank all of the candidates. Thank you so much for running and being willing to put yourself out there to contributing to making Oakland a better place to live. And for our audience, again, apologize that we could not get to all of the questions. And I encourage you to reach out to the campaigns of these candidates if you have additional questions. I'm now turning it over to our party chair, Igor Trega.
Igor.
Thank you so much again for being part of this experience. Again, this is an offering that we do every 2 years to the Oakland community by making it a public forum. I wanted to once again make sure you all know about a very exciting opportunity to meet someone in DNC leadership and kick off a campaign to support our next president and make her story together, Kamala D. Harris, the daughter of the East Bay, as well as Democrats down ballot at the Oakland United Democratic Campaign Kickoff this Sunday, September 1st at 1 p.m. There is a sign-up form in the chat. Please sign up as space is limited. I also wanted to provide you some information on the rest of our process. The executive board of the Alameda County Democratic Party has been interviewing nearly 200 Democratic candidates, and tonight is the conclusion of that. tomorrow, the executive board will be releasing a set of recommendations. The members will then have the membership of the Alameda County Democratic Party, your elected members and ex officio members will have an opportunity to make any changes to that list, nominate any additional candidates, and the endorsement meeting will take place in Oakland on September 14th. That meeting is open to all Democrats, and if you would like to be a part of it, please email info@acdems.org so we can provide a location, or you can go to our website, www.acdems.org. Last but certainly not least, I know that, like me, you enjoy having good food with awesome Democrats. We have an exciting opportunity on September 21st, Saturday, September 21st at 6 p.m. to do just that at the 52nd Alameda County Democratic Party Unity Dinner. It will be at the DoubleTree at the Berkeley Marina, and we would love to have you there. I am going to put in the chat the link to sign up. These tickets are going like gangbusters, so please sign up today to ensure that you have a seat, and really looking forward to seeing you in person. Again, thank you so much for being part of this forum, and please join me in giving a shout out, a virtual round of applause to all of the candidates that participated tonight. It is hard work being a candidate, take it from me. And my appreciation goes out. No matter what the outcome of the election is in November, I know, given your responses, that the city of Oakland is in good hands. Thank you so much, and we will see you soon.
And that was it, folks. And thank you for watching. Sorry about the technical hiccups to start, but it is nice to know that we were in good company. Subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube, and see ya.